So hello friends, my name is Prakash Parekh. First of all, a very warm welcome to this video. Let's forget about Vite right now. So we'll be making a sidebar right now, side navigation bar, along with like responsive top navigation bar in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay. So first of all, let's start by making a new folder in which we'll be calling sidebar. Okay, and let's go inside this. So let's open this. Okay, let's go back. Okay, once we do basically we'll be using a technology called tailwind css for this particular thing. So if I go to tailwindcss.com, there's an awesome piece of technology where you can specify all the very low level stuff. By low level I mean you can specify the border radius, left margin, right margin, x, y, everything, man. That's really crazy. Like you can specify all little things and you can create really great UIs using tailwind css. So that's a really great feature of this. You can see this awesome stuff, right? And once you'll start using it, you will be addictive to this. That's how awesome it is. So once that is, once we have the folder ready, the next obvious step we'll be doing is opening VS Code in this particular folder. So let's quickly do that. So, and right now, if you're like right now, we'll be making it through CDN. Okay, but you can definitely set up an npm project and do. Like many people do not feel comfortable doing that because they're either like beginner or something like that. So if you want to know how to set it up with npm, I'll definitely provide you a tutorial. Just comment down below and I'll just make it. So first of all, tailwind css with CDN. Let's search for CDN. Okay, so yeah, you can see using tailwind css through CDN, and we simply have to include this particular style sheet in our folder and we'll be good to go. So once that is done, let's create an index.html file over here. Index.html file. Let me actually see where I am. Okay, I am here in this side. That's great. Because I don't want the code to be like hidden just because of me. Okay, so once that is done, let's make the basic template by simply providing this, and let's call it navigation bar, nav bar. Okay, and we have to simply paste whatever like the tailwind css over here, and let's quickly open this in our browser. So open with live server, and if you're thinking, if you're not getting that option, that's because you haven't installed an extension called live server. Okay, you can see this one in your computer. Once you have this particular extension, you will be good to go, and that's it. So you can see our website is actually running on port 5500, so localhost port 5500. And let me tell you, like in your case it will automatically open. In my case there is some issue, so I think okay, let's close it. So in my case it has not opened due to some issue in my computer. So yeah, so let's start by simply let's make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, so let's start by simply creating a navigation bar. So first thing which we'll be having is let's specify the classes for this particular thing. So the classes is the width should be full, there should be padding, some amount of padding, there should be shadow. By the way, the shadow LG means shadow large, medium. I think that's self-explanatory. Padding P, and I'll just tell whatever the styling I'm applying, whatever style I'm applying. Okay, so that's LG means large. And what else could we need? Okay, so why we want this to be fixed, like the position should be fixed, the top should be 0, the left should also be 0, and the left should also be 0, and the right should also be 0. Once that is done, we'll be moving towards the title part. So this will be the title. So let's let's call it, I think, technologies. That's the title we want. And let's specify a class, and let's call it this should have a padding in the x direction of 3 and padding in the y direction of 2, and this should the text size should be large, and that's it. So let's save it and let's see how does our UI looks. It looks something like this. Okay, let's place this on one side, and let's place our code on the other side. I believe let's code on this particular side. That will be better because yeah. So, and let's close this thing. Okay, so we'll just make this a little bit smaller. Yeah, that's cool. So once that's done, the next thing we have to do is let's make it, instead of LG, let's make it extra large, because that's looking too much small. Yeah, that's looking better now. So what's the next thing which we'll be doing? The next thing which we'll be doing is actually giving some background color to our body, because that's not looking very much good right now. So bg gray 100, 100, I believe that will be looking good. Yeah, that's looking better now. So now the next thing which we want is we want an like the menu, right? So there will be two menus, let me tell you. One will be like when it will be in the desktop, like when it will be of this size. So there will be like the full menu which we see home, contact us, whatever it is, and there will be another menu which will be when you go to the in the mobile mode, like in the mobile phones, the responsive thing, whatever. So let me tell you one thing, there's one thing extremely important. So you should always build UI, just focus on what I'm telling you. You should always build UI considering the mobile design first. So it should be a mobile design first. So we'll be making the hamburger icon first, and then after we'll be thinking about like hiding that when we go like of like screen with higher, are you getting this, higher width and all. So we'll be thinking about those things later on. So first of all, let's make the hamburger icon. So let's call it div, and let's create 3 divs inside this. Class margin top, I believe 2 will be enough. Width, let's call it 56. Height, let's call it 10. 10 bg black. We should have not done that. Yeah, that's the thing. Height should be like really less, 2. Yeah, can we give 1? Yeah, that's also looking good. So we can just make 3 of them. Yeah, and the next thing we have to do is actually go and mention this particular thing as flex and justify between. So that's justify content between we want the maximum amount of space between these two things, and that's why you can see this has been like this is on its correct place right now. So once that is done, let's give it a class and say margin from the right side we want to be, it's like 5 or something. Yeah, 5 is too much, man. Like 2 will be enough. Yeah, so once that is done, you can see this, right? And now just think of like what do you want when this becomes bigger, right? You don't want the hamburger icon to appear, you want the full menu to appear, right? So once you know that, what you have to do is you have to say over here, like in medium screen hidden. Okay, this will be hidden. So once you do that, if you go to bigger screens, you can see that it's hidden. And that's how you make responsive design. Think about the mobile design first. Okay, so that's really important. So once you have that sidebar, whatever that thing is, we have to make the next thing, which is the actual thing, like which will be like what do you say, in the desktop size, right? So you, as we are thinking mobile first, simply think, I'm just telling you, simply think, when we are in the mobile, will that be visible? Will that straight that menu bar, will that be visible? No, that will not be visible, right? So that is something important to consider. Let's make it something called UL. That is better. UL plays like, it is better for like SEO, searching optimization, but right now just it is okay. We'll be not thinking about that. So class, let's give it flex. Okay, and just we have 3 divs. So okay, first is home. Right now you can see it has gone there. So now you have to mention their hidden, remember, because in the mobile design you have to think mobile first, as I've told you. In the mobile design that should be hidden, right? So that's important. And in the medium, like if just if we are in the biggest state, that should be block, or you can set it to unset also, that is also fine. You can see. Okay, so we can try unset. I think that will help us. No, that is not a class, so let's make it block. That's not an issue. Okay, once that is done, we'll just copy and paste this like few times, so that Okay, then after that what we'll do is okay, there's some issues. See, the flex is also comes under display, right? So we cannot say block or hidden over here. That's important, right? So what we have to do is we have to wrap this. Okay, what am I doing? Okay, so let's we have to wrap this inside another div which will actually contain, like, which will actually control whether this is visible or not. So let's wrap this inside another div, if that makes sense. Okay, and let's give it a class, and let's call it like it should be hidden by default, and in the medium size display this should be block. Yeah, you can see now it makes sense. So let's now copy this again, once again, and let's say home, about us, and contact us. These three menus will be having. Yeah, so let's quickly start styling them. I've selected all three of them, and let's say the padding should be 3. What else? The background should be gray, 200, 300. Nah, that does not look. Let's not give a background. Let's give it a hover effect. That's all. Hover, BG, blue, 500, 400. That's okay. So you'll go there. You will see this thing. Okay. See, I'm not going into like all the styling and stuff. Just I just want to show you the concept of how this responsive thing works. So you can see, when we are going into the smaller screen, that thing is invisible. When we are going into the larger screen, this thing is coming. So I just you just get the idea, right? How this is working. Now the next thing which we want is we want the actual sidebar. Now just I just want to tell you one thing. Whichever side you give this hamburger icon, from that side only the sidebar should come. If you just recall, like, this is the material design principle, by the way. So you just recall in the Play Store, if you have the hamburger icon in the left side, and the sidebar also comes from the left. So if here we have in the right side, so the sidebar will also come from the right side. That if that makes sense. Once that is done, the next thing which you have to do is actually make the sidebar. So let's do that. So after this nav, let's say div class. The width should be what? This should be visible, right? Width should be 3 out of 5. This should be fixed. The top should be 0. The bottom should be 0, and the right side should be 0. Okay, the BG should be white, and there should be shadow. That should be large. Yeah, you can see the sidebar, right? So yeah, let's make it a little smaller. Yeah. And let's now quickly place this whole thing over here only, like the same thing, the same menu from there to here, and just remove this flex thing from there. Actually, we can remove this whole class only, right, from here. So we don't anymore need this class, right? So yeah, so now what we'll do is, like, we'll just give some hover effect over here, so that, okay, how does it look? Yeah, it looks fine, I believe. Yeah, you can see the sidebar. You can create a very good design. I have created a terrible design, and I know that. One more thing, what if you click any other area from here, you want that to go inside, right? So for that thing to work, what you have to do is you have to create like that another div. Let's give it a class, and let's say BG black, opacity 75, and this should be fixed. The top should be 0, the left should be 0, the right should be 0, the bottom should be 0. And I think there is some better option to do this. Let's make it like a little lower, 45. what have I done? Okay, so after this, after this you can see the sidebar is there, right? So whenever this is clicked, you want this to go inside. And then now the next and the final challenge, how will you make this work? Okay, so let's actually create a script file which will handle this. So script.js JavaScript file, and let's quickly quickly do that. So script src no slash script.js, and once that is done, just give the IDs to all the concerned elements. So we did this, whatever this back blackish area, so let's give it like bg. What should we give it? Like bg black back. Then this is the sidebar, so let's give it the id sidebar. What's next? We need the hamburger icon. That is important, right? So id should be ham. Okay, and one more thing, we don't want the sidebar or this thing, the black thing, to appear in the medium screen. So we'll simply say in the medium this screen, that should be hidden. That's important, right? And the same thing goes here. So in the medium screen, this should be hidden, right? So if we just go from here to here, you can see all those things, right? So that's the thing which we want. So once that is done, we just have to give the functionality to the hamburger icon, and that's it. So sorry. So how will this work, right? So that's a very legit question. Let's answer that question. So that will be simply transform. There's something called duration. So there's something called duration. That's like any property change. If you change the width, height, anything, how much duration do you want that animation to last? So I want this to 400. That's like 400 milliseconds. Okay, so once that is done, I think 500 would also be great. So duration is 500. Once we do that, let's quickly reference everything. So the bg is a document dot get element by id. That is bg. Then the next thing we have is the sidebar. So sidebar is equal to document dot get element by id sidebar the hamburger icon, right? So let's call it ham. So document dot get element by id ham. Once you have that, so the next obvious thing we have to do is I just want to remember, I just want to tell you one thing. Let me actually write this. I'm going to click. Okay, so I just want to tell you one thing right now. So the hamburger icon can only show, because why the hamburger icon will be invisible, remember. So just we have to show everything. So we'll say that when this is click, the bg should be style dot hidden dot display is equal to none. So we don't want this to be visible. And one more thing, we want this sidebar dot style dot what the right side should be equal to negative 100%, like positive 100%. So it's visible, right? So you have to make it visible, so that should be 0. Okay, this should not be none, not block. Sorry, this is visible, right? So we have to make both of the things visible. The next thing is when this black area, this is background dot on click, whenever this thing is clicked, what do we want? We want the bg dot style dot display is equal to none, and sidebar dot style dot right side to be negative 100%. Sorry, percent. Not negative and positive. Why am I writing negative? Yeah, so let's now actually try this. And do you think this will work? What do you think? And what am I doing here? I don't even I know. Why has it written all these things? Okay, let's save it. Once that is done, let's try this out. Oh, we have done the wrong thing. It's not the right, it's the left side. Okay, why it is like this? So like that's left side, right? What if I write left over here? Oh man. There's some issue, right? So there's not some issue, there's a lot of issues actually. Oh, that's made. Yeah, so that should be negative. Okay, yeah, we made it. Guys, you can see it's working, it's fully working. So thank you whoever has watched this tutorial till here. You can see this is fully responsive. In the desktop mode it is like this, in the mobile mode it is like this. If you click this, this will, the sidebar will appear. Thank you guys for watching this tutorial. I hope so you learned something, and thank you. Just comment down below your suggestions if you want something new to be built. The thing is, I cannot, like, I just wanted to build the more powerful thing, but my another computer that does not support. So I'll just arrange something. Thank you for watching. Just subscribe to the channel for more such videos, and bye bye. So bye.